It was an incredible time for the club and for myself, because after that I went to Chelsea and I felt very well prepared for that challenge.
That was immediately clear at Mourinho's press conference on arrival in London.
Please don't call me arrogant, because what I'm saying is true. I'm European champion, so I'm not one of the bottle. I think I'm a special one.
He'd sat down when he walked into Chelsea and brought all his staff in, introduced them, and explained that he wanted to win, and was quite sort of adamant about it, really, in his way. Very simple. We're going to be winners now, and everyone bought into it straight away. So he had that thing where he was so organised, where so many things he said came right. Players just believed in him, and once he had that, I think he had the trick then at Chelsea, and from then on we just went on from strength to strength.
And as Chelsea began to dominate the English Premiership, their coach was captivating the British media.
I think he's brought a new dimension to the press conference, to the pre-game build-up.
Nobody asked me my team. Do you want to know my team tomorrow? So why don't you ask me?
What's your team tomorrow?
It's too late. I'm sorry.
Not everyone loves it. Some people think it's too much, but you cannot argue with how he does it, and he only does it for one reason, that's to win.
No eggs, no omelets.
And I know it's made him this huge personality, which he is now, pretty much worldwide.
And depends of the quality of the eggs. And some are more expensive than others, and some give you better omelets.
It's part of his game. It's not the 90 minutes. He builds up in the week tactically and with the team, and I think then he tries to get the edge in his press conference.
And please write what I say, not what you want me to say, because sometimes you write not what I say, but what do you want me to say.
And I think it worked. It certainly for me worked at times with us, because at times we created a them against us kind of attitude when things were getting tough for us.
You can feel that everybody is against us, but that's fun. That's good for us.
And he was always at the forefront of that, so I think he knows how to handle that, and he never shies away from it. He'll always stand up. Whether he does something that people see as a mistake or not, he's doing it for the good of the team and for the good of the club.
In 2005, Chelsea stood on the verge of their first league title in 50 years. The team personified their manager's self-belief. Mourinho had worked it out.
I know that for a top team like my teams normally are, we play around 50, 60 matches a season, and you cannot have meetings of hours with the players, because hours and hours and hours is too much. So we have to try to make very objective meetings with the players. After that, the last defensive block is the 3 attackers against the 4 defenders. So defensively is easy to analyze, is easy to control, and you cannot concede goals playing this way. We have to play for a result. They play for a result, we have to play for a result. We cannot lose the game. I'm not putting pressure on you about we have to win. I don't want to put that kind of pressure, but we cannot lose. We cannot lose. And in maximum of 10-15 minutes, to make them feel, understand, smell, know everything about the opponent, without losing never our philosophy, without losing never what is the most important thing, which is you have to play the way you want to play. But if you know the enemy, if you can use that strong words, you are better prepared.
Chelsea secured the 2005 Premiership title at Bolton Wanderers to end their long wait.
To win the Premiership after 50 years was magic for the club, and everybody that was in the club at that time was feeling that magic.
It was hugely emotional for all of us. I think for Mourinho himself to come in and do it in his first year was an amazing achievement. The most special probably moment of my career, certainly my club career, and I think my career in general, that first year of winning it, because of you could feel what it meant to so many people, and saying again about how together he was, and it was like a family. When you win as a family, it feels even better than you win with certain individuals. So we felt as a group so special that year.
Players feeling like family is a running theme through Mourinho's career. It's much more than just a working relationship.
To be fair, I think it's something that happens naturally. I give the maximum I have to give them. I want them to give me the maximum they can.
He's very good at it, he's very clever. I think he's a good man for starters. I think everyone sees, people who don't know him see the image of him on the line and certain things. But when you see him behind the scenes, I find him very easy to get on with. We still get on very well now on messages and stuff, and he manages to get a firm bond with his players.
Tell us what you think of Jose Mourinho.
Brilliant. Best manager in the world. You know, no one compares to him, really.
And once you have the players behind you in that way, I think you can really get the best out of them. And at Chelsea we had a fantastic squad of players, and so once we had that extra bit from the togetherness of everyone, we knew what we could do, and we didn't fear anybody. We thought we could beat anyone, and that was all transmitted through him.
We established this kind of empathy, this kind of relationship, and I think it's good for everybody.
In his second season at Chelsea, Mourinho delivered a second title and the FA Cup the following year after a 1-0 win over Manchester United in the first final at the new Wembley. Mourinho's formula had proved successful in both Portugal and England. But Chelsea's Russian owner, Roman Abramovich, who had invested millions on players, wanted more. In September 2007, despite 6 trophies in 3 years, Mourinho left Chelsea, reportedly by mutual consent. But he was still a man in demand. 9 months later, he accepted a job as head coach of Inter Milan. He was under the microscope again.
People sometimes is unfair with Italian football. People sometimes say the championship is not so good, the quality is not so high. Depends on the way you look at it. The press is, in my opinion, a very good one. Every pundit, everybody that writes in the top sports newspapers, they are very, very well prepared. They are very critic, but critic in the positive way.
Inter was a big challenge because everyone speaks about the tactical managers in Italy, how important is the tactics and the strategies in football, and was in fact a big challenge for Jose.
I have to adapt. I have to learn where I'm working. I have to understand the culture of the football country. I have to understand the culture of my players and my team.
In a minute, you could be changing your structure, the idea of the strategy for that game, and in the same minute, the opponent, even if was a manager from a small team, he was adapting to you. So it was like a continuous fighting in the tactical point of view.
I think it's the most difficult country. Coaches are very well prepared. Players, they have a great mentality for that. Teams are very, very well organized. Every match is really difficult.
There would be no better test of Mourinho's tactical genius, however, than a particular Italian-Spanish clash in the 2010 Champions League semi-finals.
When we played the semi-final against Barcelona, and we played at home the first match, and we had a meeting. Of course, you know, if you play against Barcelona, it will be very difficult. But after the meeting, I was quite sure that we could beat Barcelona, and we did it.
Mourinho and his team delivered a tactical masterclass to nullify the Catalans. They eventually won 3-1 with goals from Schneider, Maicon and Milito. The second leg saw Inter reduced to 10 men. But Barcelona's 1-0 win was not enough. Inter were through to the final. It was a triumph for Mourinho, and he knew it. The Champions League final would see Inter meet German giants Bayern Munich.
For me, and again, the same way with Chelsea was tough, but highly motivated to try to be champion with a team that was never champion. Try the same thing with Inter, was not succeeding in Europe also for about 50 years.
After his problems with Roman Abramovich at Chelsea, Mourinho seemed to have no such difficulties in Italy.
Try to do it with Inter was also pressure, because the club was almost demanding that, the supporters were almost demanding that, but at the same time, great experience.
There is a way we won,
is because we have also men like this in the group.
It was arguably the greatest success of Jose Mourinho.
He can be very emotional when he takes the responsibility of a team in a club. The way
I would say the most emotional moment I've had in football, because I didn't quite see it coming, and he'd been so huge for me personally, and I'm sure a lot of players will tell you the same.
That was his best thing, I think, that he had a great connection with all the players, and that's why we won a lot of prizes.
I've never actually got too attached to anything emotionally in those terms, because football, you always understand that it moves on. Managers move on, players move on. But with Mourinho, I'll never forget the moment of sitting in the dressing room and seeing him go.
Be honest with them, fair with them, and be together all the time. Good moments, bad moments, try to be together all the time is something that happened naturally.
In May 2010, Mourinho moved to the Santiago Bernabéu and Real Madrid. He was immediately faced with one of his biggest challenges, overcoming Pep Guardiola's mighty Barcelona. In Mourinho's first season, Barca beat Real to La Liga and knocked them out of the Champions League on their way to winning the trophy. Mourinho will not stop until he's succeeded in Spain, as he did in Portugal, England and Italy. Then perhaps he will finally settle.
It's a personal ambition. After the last experience, if I can call it Madrid and Spain, I can be in a great position to say, this is what I want, this is where I want to be.
He's been a top-level coach for barely a decade, but no other manager has achieved so much so quickly. In 2011, he added the Spanish Cup to his glittering achievements. It remains to be seen how Jose Mourinho will deal with a period of failure, but perhaps that will never happen.
I don't think failure is a word in his dictionary, so it's a word that he doesn't know.
But what he's got is a certain magic, and that's what makes him different, and that's what puts him up there with the Fergusons, the Shankleys, and whoever the manager you want to go for in time.
He's an amazing coach, he's the best coach in the world.
I think experience after experience, I'm growing up a lot, and to be successful in all of these countries, I'm happy with this. Until one day I go back to England, because it's the one where I was the happiest manager in the world. But until I go to stay, this way around the football of Europe makes me feel very, very rich.